voice is not audible.
Sir, namaskar.
Afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, please unmute your mic.
Yes. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now audible.
Oh, it was mute.
Okay, sir.
So we'll start the second block, that is Mulkraj Anand's Untouchable. Okay. The last class we discussed the
Block one,
non-fiction,
sir.
block one non-fiction prose writings, and you have already studied that part. So today we'll discuss Untouchable by Mulkraj Anand. Mulkraj Anand, there are three important novelists in the early stage of Indian English writing. They are Raja Rao and R.K. Narayan and Mulkraj Anand. The 30s, 1930s. So Mulkraj Anand is basically, he belongs to which place? Do you know? Hmm? Anybody? Any idea?
Sir,
Have you
Sialkot.
have you read any of his novels? Have you read this novel, which is prescribed to you? So Mulkraj Anand, R.K. Narayan, and Raja Rao, they are three most established English in Indian English novelists in the gamut of Indian and world literatures. And he was born in a Hindu family, Mulkraj Anand, in 1905. 1905, I think, is important for partition of um,
Bangla.
Pakistan.
Bangla.
Pakistan. Bangladesh. Bangladesh became a separate nation. And he was the third of five sons of Lal Chand. Father belonged to a Hathihar caste. Lal Chand left his hereditary occupation. He and to attend school. Um he learned English, took a British military examination, and served in cantonments including Sialkot, Firozpur, Peshawar, etc. So this is the background, and Mulkraj Anand inherited from his father a professional artisan's industry and minute attention to detail, as also the revolutionary temperament. So Mulkraj Anand, if you read his novels, especially Coolie and the present prescribed one is The Untouchable, you will find that he had a revolutionary bent of mind, and he never tried to compromise with the British government. He never tried to compromise with the Indian Zamindari system. He was a pro Dalit. Pro, you understand? Pro, hello. Pro, you
No, sir,
understand?
not understand. Pro means what?
Pro means in favor of, siding with, leaning towards. Means he was in favor of. He was in favor of the Dalits, the downtrodden in the society. And during his prolific literary career, he has written so many novels. 1935, The Untouchable was written in 1935. Then he wrote 1936 Coolie. Then he wrote Two Leaves and a Board 1937. This is how he has written a number of novels, and he especially likes to portray the lives of downtrodden and the oppressed. Downtrodden, you understand? Downtrodden means the Dalits, the most miserable or poor people of the society. Oppressed means those who are tortured in the society. And his protagonists, his heroes of the novels are sweeper, coolie, peasant. So he's a left. He is in a way he's a leftist writer, or you can say he is a writer for the Dalits. He is a pro-Dalit writer. Dalit literature also now in fashion. Dalit literature. Is a literature means suppose you are talking about the underdogs of the society. Underdogs means the poor people in the society. And this Untouchable is a powerful novel which can be regarded as the quintessential Anon since it projects most of the characteristic parts of his life or writing. The main theme of the novel of untouchability has been portrayed through this novel. You know that the Britishers, when they came to India, they tried to divide and rule. And for Britishers, the best way was to divide the people in Indian society who were terribly separated on the lines of caste, creed, and also religion. There were lower caste people and upper caste people. And as you know, Gandhiji gave a lot of his time towards the upliftment of the underdogs. Hey, somebody is on has unmuted his. Please mute yourselves. The sound of some bike car is coming. Please mute yourself while listening to me. And when you ask questions, you unmute. So Gandhiji also during 30s, you know, the Laban Satyagraha, Salt Satyagraha, and other things from 1909 onwards. A lot of movements have been there in Indian freedom struggle history. So Gandhiji gave a lot of time to the upliftment of the poor people. And Mulkraj Anand, Raja Rao, and other R.K. Narayan, these writers also were very much interested in the upliftment of India, in the freedom of India. But as you know, Gandhiji was struggling hard not only for political freedom of India, but also for the social and economic freedom. And if you call Mulkraj Anand the revolutionary, he is a revolutionary, he is a freedom fighter in the sense that he may not be battling in the fields and arousing people to fight against the Britishers in a direct way, but he was trying to write, as you know, the pain is mightier than the sword, and arouse people through his novels, through novels which were written in both vernaculars and English. English, the elitist people, the enlightened people, or the educated people will read English, and those books written in regional language, they will also excite or incite the people because these readings, books, pamphlets, these things are things which make help in the formation of opinion. And they were indirectly they were fighting for the freedom of the country. And Mulkraj Anand was more interested in the economic upliftment and removal of social discrepancy, removal of social discrimination among the caste people. The upper caste people, the Brahmins, hated the lower caste people. And as you know, the Brahmins were the privileged lot, and they were trying to make laws. Whatever they said became a law. Different Brahmins also created different laws according to their suitability or convenience. So what was very painful for the writer was this kind of division, this kind of discrepancy, and as you know, in the that caste system has been till today in some maybe in a very lower form, in maybe a feeble form, in a very weak form, that still exists in our society, especially in rural areas. Till now, nowadays also, even if I visit our places, our my village, I find the tinge of the old casteism still prevailing there. Still, people are not socially. Then all the castes are not treated harmoniously. Or maybe in cities and towns, there's less of this casteist feeling. But in rural areas, remote areas, there are a lot of this casteist feelings prevailing till now. So in 19 and Mulkraj Anand was basically interested in writing against this caste system and how what are the fallout of this caste system on the society, how people suffered, how people suffered the tyranny of the upper caste people, the tortures let loose by the upper class people in the society. That was the primary concern of our esteemed writer, Mulkraz Anand. In 1939 and to 1942, Anand wrote a trilogy. The novels were titled The Village, Across Black Waters, The Sword, and The Sickle. And in 1951, he published Seven Summers, the first of a series of seven novels which Anand planned to write in a kind of autobiography in seven parts. Um, okay. And Morning Face is the second of the seven novels published in 1968, for which he received Sahitya Academy in 1971. Central Sahitya Academy Award is an award which is given to the talented writers of our country. As you know, from Odisha, some many people have got Central Sahitya Academy Award, including Jayant Mahapatra, who got the Academy Award for the first time in poetry, Indian English poetry. He was the first person to get Academy Award. I think he got it in 1981. So this has been followed by Confession of a Lover, Bubble, Little Plays of Mahatma Gandhi. Besides novels, Mulkraj Anand also wrote a lot of stories. Most of you might have read his story, The Lost Child and Other Stories. The Lost Child is a beautiful story where you find how a child has been lost in a fair and how he's searching for his parents, and immediately the psychology of the child has been painted in the novel. When he was with his father, he was having interest in every little thing, that was the balloons, the chocolates, the whatever was available in the fair. He was interested in everything. But the moment the child gets lost, so he loses interest in everything. And a stranger comes to ask him what happened to you. Let come. I will give you this. I will give you balloons. I will give chocolates. But he says no. I am not interested in anything. I would just want my parents. I want my father. So that is the story of a lost child, the lost child, written by Murtaz Anand, where you discover the importance of being rooted, the
Sir, I have
rootedness.
read that story in NCRT book, English, for in
Yes,
class 9th, 10th.
yes. That's a nice story. So the importance of being rooted to your soil, to rooted to your culture, rooted to your family. So rootedness is a very important thing. As you know, all these diasporic writers who are now living apart from India. Diasporic writers means some belonging to one country but being scattered in some other country. So such diasporic writers are also deeply thinking of their indigenous soil, like Rajendra Das, who is writing, staying in German and writing in Samaj every week. You find articles. He cannot forget his Odia culture. And there are many other writers like who are staying abroad, but they are deeply connected to this soil, Indian soil, and they are remembering and writing through their nostalgic reflections on the roots, on the soil to which they actually belong to. In addition, here you have a lot of other kinds of writings, fairy tales. He has written fairy tales, Indian fairy tales. So these are the important things in 1930s. Such was the movement of Indian English novelists. Mulk Raz Anand, is the most conspicuously committed writer. He is committed to his society, to his writing, to his pen, to his conviction that through his pen he can change the people's ideas about caste and relationship in a society, all these things. But his proletarian sympathies, his sympathy with the underdogs. Underdogs means the poor people. That is highly, deeply rooted in his blood. That and as you know, Untouchable is a classic example of his sympathy with the underdogs of the society. Underdogs, you understand, the poor people. So the poor people of the society become his heroes. I also find a similar parallel in another American novel, dramatist. You must have heard of. Have you heard the Arthur Miller? Have you heard the name of Arthur Miller or Galsworthy? They are writers who are interested in the common people. Arthur Miller writes about a common person, death of a salesman. Salesman becomes a hero. So here in Anand's novel, the coolie becomes a hero. The untouchable persons, the poor people, they become the heroes of his novels. And he was greatly influenced by our leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and others who were fighting. As you know, Gandhiji, towards the last part of his life, even when India got independence, was living with the Harijan Basti. He was staying in the. He said India is politically free, he thought, but India was not economically and socially free. So Harijan word is also creation of Gandhi. And Mulkraj Anand tells in detail about the writings of the novel and um, uh, um, as you know, this novel, Untouchable, it talks about a boy, a sweeper boy, whose name is Bakha, Bakha. Bakha is an untouchable, and as you know, during 1930s, what happened? These boys, horizon boys, or the sweeper boys who were working in the cities, they were carrying human shit on their head and dumping it in some other place. There was no mechanical or there was no strategy to uh, clear it in an in a mechanic way. No machines were there. So this was a highly shameful thing, carrying human shit on your head. In this city of Kotak also, I have heard that how this human shit were being carried by people from one place to other. But nowadays you have machines, and that was a very derogatory or very demeaning kind of activity in which they had to do for money. And Baka seemed to be Baka was suffering from terrible complex, inferiority complex, because of this kind of duty which he had to do. and what happens in the mind of Baka, how he runs through his life, and what happens to him. The story centers around this hero, Baka. So, um, and while writing this novel, let me tell you that Anand came under the influence of Gandhiji. Gandhiji, who was the leader and who was a social thinker and who was a spiritualist. Nowadays, people are talking against Gandhi. There are some people who are Gandhi basing has been a recent cultural trait with some pseudo intellectuals. But Gandhi was somebody whom very few people have understood. And these writers of that time were greatly influenced by Gandhiji. So Baka is the hero of the untouchable. Baka becomes the representative untouchable who exemplifies the predicament of not only the sweeper community, but all the dispossessed and deprived classes in every society. In every society, you have displaced people, dispossessed. That means they're driven out from their own place, from their soil, from their root, and they're deprived. They don't get their nowadays free rice and groceries being supplied by the government to these people. Um, so at that time, the British rule was there. 1930, it was British rule, and many poor people were there who were suffering from the acute poverty and all kinds of. And the British people, as you know, tried to rule by using these mechanisms of divisive forces. That which was dividing the society, casteism, communalism. Communalism means disharmony among the communal bias or dividing the society in terms of religion. Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai, they're different communities. And Britishers wanted to divide the country on these. They didn't want to promote social harmony. Their aim was just to rule. And they thought that the Indians were savages. They were the missionaries who came to civilize the Indians. Not only here in Africa and in other countries also they did that. So the impact of imperialism was terrible, and they did because the British rulers didn't want to reform the society, but our people, our people like Raja Ram Mohan Roy and other leaders, Gandhiji and others, and writers like Mulk Raj Anand through their writings. Raja Rao also wrote a very important novel which you will be studying tomorrow. What is the name of that novel which you will be studying tomorrow? Anybody who can tell? Let me know how much conscious you are. Tomorrow, which novel do you have to in your syllabus to study? Third block, block three.
Untouchable, untouchable, its theme and plot.
Ah, today you have untouchable. Tomorrow, I am talking about tomorrow.
Kanthapura.
Yes, not Kanthapura. That's Kanthapura. Kanthapura कौन? What is Kanthapura? Kanthapura. Kanthapura is the name of a village where there is a person named Murti. Murti. Morthi. Murti, you can say. A South Indian person, a Murti. How under the leadership of Gandhian ideology, Murti tries to fight out the disharmony in the society. So Raja Rao is also another powerful novelist who depicted the situation, the problem of the contemporary society, this problem of casteism, problem of communalism through their novels. And you also have another important dramatist named, uh, yes, I forget his name, who has talked about this communal disharmony in his book, The Shadow Lines. Uh, Yes. Okay. So this novel, The Untouchable, the hero of this novel is Bakha, Bakha. When you write in the examination, please write the name correctly. Otherwise, you will incur the displeasure of the examiner. So write the names Bakha, Bakha. So jot down these things, or no, underline these things. So untouchability, the untouchable is a novel which deals with the ghastly evil of untouchability afflicting the Hindu society of the pre-partition era. Partition, you know, what is partition? India and Pakistan got partitioned in 1947. They became two nations. Partition means division. Division. Partition. There are also partition novels. Khushwant Singh's Train to Pakistan is a partition novel. Okay, Salman Rushdie's Freedom at Night, Midnight is a partition novel. So partition novels were also important in the 1947 and this freedom movement, freedom era, just pre and post freedom time. But this novel belongs to 1930s when India was still having 17 years of struggle to go through to become independent. That was a terrible time, very dark phase of Indian life. The and the backdrop, you have caste configurations within the Hindu society. There of you, as you know, if you have studied sociology, there are four important castes in the Sudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, and Brahmin. Sudras, the last group, were considered to be untouchables. They were not given much um, attention by anybody. They were the underdogs of the society. They did all the low activities, physical labor, and all that. And there was great orthodoxy among the people. The Brahmins were highly orthodox. They didn't allow. In our village, I have seen when I was a child. Suppose a caste person comes to our basti, Brahmin basti, and his shadow falls on you. You are a Brahmin. Then you have to take the cow dung um, water and you have to wash yourselves clean. So this is a terrible, terrible story of casteism. In my childhood days, I have seen how the people belonging to lower caste, they were not allowed into your house. They used to sit at a distance, and they were not even during your common feast programs. They were not allowed to sit with the Brahmins. The Brahmins enjoyed a higher status, and they belonged to the lowest status. So these were the big divide: the touchables and the untouchables. Touchables means those whom you can touch, who are friendly, who are friends, who are equals. But untouchable means who are not below you, downtrodden. They are not to be supposed to be touched. And as you know, these people, poor people, the untouchables, the outcasts, they were also called outcasts. Their colony was a group of mod wall houses clustered together in two rows and under the shadow both of the town and the cantonment, the outside their boundaries, and there lived the scavengers. Scavengers means those who were lifting the human excreta. Excreta, you understand? That the feces, the night soil, okay, human excreta, that thing which comes out of the lavatory, latrines. The leather workers, the washermen, the barbers, the water carriers, the grass cutters, the laborers, they were the outcasts from the Hindu society. They were not supposed to be touched. Even today, the sweeper who is coming to my street here in Cuttack, whenever I give him 10 or 20 rupees, he puts his hand a little below so that his hands don't touch my hand. But I deliberately touch his hands and give it to him. So we should give them the idea that they're not low people. They are doing a great job. The sweepers are as important as professors, as doctors. In fact, if the sweepers don't do the work, there will be a lot of problem in the society. There will be diseases. There will be diseases in the society. If there is no cleanliness, there will be epidemics. And the doctors are working in the hospitals, as sweepers are working in these common civilian areas. There is not much of difference. Both are doing their duty. So why should we think that the sweeper is of a very low? Some people behave very badly, roughly with the sweepers. So that is a very bad thing. We should know the importance of each work because every work is important in its own way. So a strong believer in the dignity of man, dignity of labor. Sweeper is also doing some job, and that job also has some dignity. Nowadays, a lot of people have come to understand this, and they're not getting low treatment in every area. Maybe in some remote areas where there is darkness, there is medieval darkness, still there is lack of knowledge and illiteracy and ignorance. And knowledge, light of knowledge has not actually swept across many areas of Indian society. There, it is considered to be a very ignoble job, bad job, doing this work of a scavenger. Scavenger, you understand? Those who lift the human excreta on their head and clean the toilets and all that. Okay. So Anand is naturally shocked by the inhuman way the untouchables are treated by these people who belong to superior castes, especially the Brahmins and the so-called twice born. Brahmins are called the twice born. You know why Brahmins are called twice born? Who can say? Hmm? Dvija. Brahman manku Dvija. Brahmins are called Dvija. Dvija means they are born twice. You know how they have a thread ceremony.
Yes,
They are
sir.
born.
Yes.
Yes, they have a
Brahmacharya and marriage.
before marriage, much before marriage. So when I was 11 years, I had this thread ceremony because I also belong to this Brahmin community. I don't believe in any caste system, but as per the tradition, I was given a thread ceremony when I was 11 years. So they born twice means once from the mother's womb, second from the second when they have thread ceremony, they are again born into a Brahmanist cult. The degradation so that they can do pujas, they can offer do pujas in different shrines and temples and all that. The degradation and humiliation inflicted on the untouchable sections of society is highlighted through the oft-repeated refrain of Bakha. So Bakha becomes a symbol. He's a character. He's a boy. He's a scavenger boy, but the sweeper boy. But that Bakha becomes the symbol of all kinds of humiliations which are meted out to the poor people. Bakha and his outcast friend sometimes played hockey with the two boys of the Hindu Babu. Yet the mere touch of the caste Brahmin unleashes an invasion of abusive epithets and physical assault on Bakha. So Bakha has been humiliated many times by these Brahmins, just like the Britishers were humiliating Indians during their rule. There were special parks for Britishers, special roads for Britishers. Indians were not allowed to treat those parks, treat those roads, because the Britishers thought that they are white and they are white supremacy over the black people who we were treated as black. Similar was the case with Brahmins and Sudras. Brahmins thought we are great people, and these Sudras are the downtrodden, they're low people. So Baka is that boy who about the story centers around in the entire novel. The story centers around Baka, whose misery, whose how he is being humiliated, badly treated by the people of the society, and how he becomes a dumb creature in the society. So there are abusive words. How he is abused in page 51 of the Untouchable novel. He is abused like this by Brahmins and upper caste people. Whenever there was an abusive attack on him, he only bent his forehead over them and mumbled something. But the touched man doesn't care to hear what the boy says. And Baka became very uh, dumb with humility. So, how he was being, with these words, look at these words, with what kind of words he was being abused by the upper caste people. Dirty dog, son of a bitch, offspring of a pig. These were the words and phrases which were used against him. Dirty dog, son of a bitch. You understand all this language. Offspring of a pig. Pig, you understand? Pig মানে বুঝছো না নাই?
Busuri.
Pig. So these are the words which were thrown, catapulted at this poor boy whenever somebody got angry with him and they're losing temper, and they were using this kind of language. Dirty dog, son of a bitch, offspring of a pig. So these are the words which were being used to humiliate a boy. And whenever there was such kind of thing, Baka felt very confused by what was happening to him. And the novelist describes his misery, his hopelessness, and his helplessness in these words. This is a quotation from the book where Mulkraj Anand is trying to describe how he responded, how Baka responded to these humiliating remarks. I quote, Baka was feeling like this. Baka's first impulse was to run, just to shoot across the throng, away, away, far away from the torment. But then he realized that he was surrounded by a barrier, not a physical barrier, because one push from his hefty soldiers would have been enough to unbalance the skeleton like bodies of the onlookers, but a moral one. He was suffering from a moral weakness. He knew that contact with him, if he pushed through, would defile a great many more of these men. And he could already hear in his ears that the abuse that he would thus draw on himself. So whenever there was any humiliating situation and people were cursing him, a crowd gathered around him, and he always thought that he could run away. He was very strong. He was a Bhima-like boy, Bhimo-like boy, very well robust, rebuilt body. But problem with him was that he was psychologically so weak because the society had put into his head that he was a poor guy, he was a dirty fellow, he was the son of a pig, he was a son of a bitch. So these things were put into his head, and he always thought that he suffered from terrible inferiority complex. You understand inferiority complex?
Yes, sir.
Hello. He thought that he was very inferior. So one of the urchins means boys, the crowd falsely accuses Baka of beating them. Then when he protests against the false accusation and asks for forgiveness for his present crime of forgetting to call his arrival, touching the caste Hindu, no one in the crowd believes a word of what he says. Secondly, he was never trusted by anybody. Somebody was giving a false accusation against him, people believed. And even if he pleaded innocence, he pleaded, "No, I have not done this crime." So nobody was listening to him. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, there was a
Yes, sir.
call. There was a disturbance. Okay. How can you stop these calls? Okay. Hmm. The sympathy and miserable Baka draws from a passerby by Mahamadan. Oof, oh, terrible. Somebody is calling. Let me mute, let me block him. These people don't understand that if you are busy, you should not disturb. Hmm. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Where are you? Let me. Yes, yes. Sorry for the interruption. So, ultimate incident makes him indulge in pitiable self-analysis of his plight in his interior monologue. The writer has taken help of interior monologues. Suppose wherever Baka is thinking about his plight, you understand, about his miserable situation. So he is thinking like this: Why was all this fuss? Why was I so humble? I could have struck him. I could have done this, I could have done that. And to think that I was so eager to come to the town this morning, why didn't I shout to warn the people of my approach? That comes of not looking after one's work. I should have begun it to sweep the thoroughfare. I should have seen the high caste people in the street. That man, that he should have hit me. My poor jalebis, I should have eaten them. So he wants to eat jalebi, but he cannot go to the shop and buy it. But why couldn't I say something? Couldn't I have joined my hands with to him and then gone away? The slap on my face, the coward. He was calling himself a coward, that I am a coward, I cannot do this, I could not answer back somebody, I could not say this to somebody, I could not eat my jalebi. And for two reasons, either he was poor or he was afraid of going to the cellar. So this was a cruel world, and cruel world for Baka. This was, and Baka. Don't think that it was only Baka who was suffering from this kind of cruelty. Hundreds of Bakas, thousands of Bakas in Indian society. He is a representative figure of the underdog in the society, untouchables in the society, who had to bear the brunt of belonging to a lower caste. So the cruel crowd, all of them abused. Why are we always abused? Oh God, why are we abused? The sanitary inspector, sanitary means sanitary inspector, that they abused my father. They always abuse us because we are sweepers, because we touch dung. They hate dung. I hate it too. That is why I came here. I was tired of working in the on the latrines every day. That is why they don't touch us, the high castes. He is moved by the kindness of the Tongawala, and the word untouchable haunts him. So the word untouchable, Ochua Jati, this word always haunts him. The Tongawala was actually belonging to to his status. So Tongawala was sympathizing with him. The Tongawala was kind. He made me weep, telling me in that way to take my things and walk along. But he is a Mohammedan. Look, another problem. There was caste problem, now there is communal problem. They didn't mind touching us, the Mohammedans and the Sahibs. It is only the Hindus and the outcasts who are not sweepers. For them, I am a sweeper, untouchable, untouchable, untouchable. That's the word. Untouchable, I am and untouchable. So these are the very pitiable self introspection which Baka was having in his lonely moments. He was cursing himself. Why did I belong to this caste? I should have better have belonged to another caste. Better I could have been born in a better caste society, family. That is what all the time he was thinking of belonging to some other caste. So um, Baka always thought that there was an insuperable barrier between himself and the crowd, the barrier of caste. He was part of the consciousness which he could share and yet not understand. He had been lifted from the gutter. Gutter মানে জানো তো? Gutter মানে এই যে নর্দমা, drain. Through the barriers of space, to partake of a life which was his and yet not his. He was in the midst of a humanity which included him in its folds, yet debarred him from entering into a sentient, living, sentient means sadhu, living, quivering contact with Gandhi alone united him with them. In the mind, because Gandhi was in everybody's mind, including Baka's. Gandhi might unite them really. So, indirectly, reference to Gandhi here, Baka was thinking of this Gandhiji because Gandhi was a tremendous force in Indian society who was talking of this on. Uh, he gave a new name to these undercaste people down. He gave the name of Harijan to these people. Hari means God. They are God. They are children of God. Okay, and the government has allowed him out of jail only if he will keep strictly within the limits of his propaganda for Harijans, for the removal of untouchability. During the course of his speech, Gandhi clarifies. Uh, Gandhi gave a speech in his area. He said, Gandhi's speech was like this. As you all know, while we are asking for freedom from the grip of a foreign nation, we have ourselves for centuries trampled underfoot millions of human beings without feeling the slightest remorse for our inquiry. For me, the question of these people is moral and religious. When I undertook to fast unto death for their sake, it was in obedience to the call of my conscience. See, this is what Gandhi said that now the Britishers are torturing us, but the downtrodden people, the untouchables, are doubly tortured, and women are triply tortured. First, women are tortured by their husbands, their own family members. Then they are tortured in terms of their caste. Then they are tortured in terms of their race. So this is how Gandhiji here he doesn't talk about women being tortured, but he just I for your understanding said this. So they were twice tortured. Britishers tortured all the Indians, and among that category, the untouchables were also there. And the upper caste people of Indian society also tortured them. So they are doubly tortured. So this was a crisis because being in the grip of a foreign nation also, when we are being tortured, the downtrodden people, the untouchables were trampled underfoot millions of human beings, billions of human beings belonging to the higher strata, higher caste. So that is why Gandhi said that untouchability was the greatest blot on Hinduism. It was a curse. It was a serious crime. And nowadays, the caste and civil tribe law is so stringent that if an upper caste person says something wrong to somebody belonging to a lower caste, They have the commission, and the civil caste tribe commission will take up the issue, and they will be punished. But such rules were not there before independence. We have made that law after independence. Gandhi also expresses the opinion that all public wells, temples, roads, schools, and sanatorium means hospitals, must be declared open for the untouchables. Gandhi said, no, they can go to temples, they can go to use the well, public well, all the roads, schools. In the schools also, they were treated in a very discriminatory way. That was very wrong. They are not allowed to touch the public well. ଗାଁରେ ଯୋଉ କୂଅ ଥିବ ସେଠିକି ଯାଇପାରିବେନି ସେ ତାଙ୍କର ଅଲଗା କୋଉଠୁ ପାଣି ଆଣିବେ କୋଉଠୁ ଯାଇକି these were the unfair rules as per the caste system in the society against which Mulkraj Anand writes this novel. Actually, untouchable, coming to the plot and structure of the novel, has what is the difference between story and plot? Anybody who can say what is the difference between story and
The
plot?
the story is the total incident which we describe, and plot is the some part of that story, like a
Hmm.
scene.
Very wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Anybody else? Anybody who can tell me the difference between story and plot?
Sir, plot is the sequence of events that make up a story.
Partially
I
correct.
think.
Anybody else?
An
Plot
event which
and
we take as plot on which
Hmm.
we make a story.
Hmm. Anybody else? I'll tell you two stories, okay? You can understand the difference between story and plot. So, suppose I say there was a king, he had a queen, he loved the queen very much. The queen died, the king died. This is a story. But I say the same story again. Okay, mark the difference. There was a king, he had a queen, he loved the queen very much. The queen died, the king also died of grief. So the difference between these two stories are only two words of grief. Of grief talks about the why of the death of the king. So the why of the story is the plot. Story is a sequence of events that take place in a narrative, but plot is the why of that story. Why did this happen? So that is the plot. You remember this. This is the fundamental thing of learning about plot. What is a plot, and how is it different from a story in a novel or in a drama? You have plots in the novels and dramas. Stories don't have much of plots because stories are very small. They don't have necessarily a plot.
The
But novels,
uh,
yes.
the plot and scene. What is the difference between plot and scene?
Spin,
Scene in the
pin,
plot and scene.
scene.
The- Yes, sir.
Acha. Plot and scene, they don't have any relation. But scene, SCENE, scene is a part of an act in a drama of 3 acts or 5 acts. Sometimes one act has several scenes. Scene SC and scene 1, scene 2, plot. Act 1, scene 1. Act 1, scene 1, scene 2. Scene means that is only used in drama, not in novels. Novel has no scene. Scene thing is there in only in the drama. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So untouchable has no story interest. Actually, Mulkraj Anand has not given a solid story. And modern novels, as you know, this may not be a modern novel, but in modern novels, you don't have this story thing. Modern novels um, this is like a modern novel, not much of story element. It is just an impassioned plea for a social cause. It's a very plea, it's an argument full of feelings and strong emotions and pleading for the justice which is deserved by the untouchables. It has a singleness of purpose, exposing the evil of untouchability and analyzing its various aspects of social, moral, psychological, and religious drawbacks that provides the structural unity to the plot. The plot of Untouchable can unmistakably be hailed as one of the most compact and coherent plots in Indian English fiction. This view finds confirmation in the fact that getting convinced of the advice of Mahatma Gandhi, Mulkraj Anand reduced the size of this manuscript to almost half of its original, keeping out extraneous details. In his well-known essay on the genesis of Untouchable, Anand writes, Mulkraj Anand tells about the origin of his novel. He says, I quote, this is page number, I tell you, 30. 30 in your book, your material book. I think MEG-7, book 2, block 2, page 30. Note down. You can read it at home on your net, or if you have books. How many of you have books?
I have.
Do you?
Yes,
Acha,
yes,
some
sir. I
of
have.
those who have books also can read from the books, page 30, block 2. Okay. And those who don't
Sir.
have books also can read it on the novel, on the net, internet. You go to the site and download this book. I did that. Actually, I don't have books. I don't have these books. I downloaded from the net, and I have saved it on my laptop. And while teaching you, I am going through that book on the net, on the screen. Okay, you can do that also. It is if you, this is easier, but you cannot put underline or this. You cannot make any notes directly. It's difficult. If you have books, it is better. If you don't have books, also you can jot down on your notebook. You keep a khata or a notebook near you, and you jot down these points. Okay, both ways you can read and cultivate. So what Anand says about his book, he says, in retrospect, I feel that under the tutelage of the Mahatma, he was a great devotee of Mahatma, who did not pretend to be an artist. I was able to exercise all those self-conscious literary elements which I had woven into the narrative in anticipation of what the critics might approve. He thought that the paragraphs of high sounding words in which I had tried to unite the miscellaneous elements in what was essentially a walk through the small town of my hero must go. Also, old man means Gandhi, suggested the removal of my deliberate attempts to melodramatic contrasts of the comic and the tragic motives through which the spontaneous feelings, moods, and lurking cows in the soul of Baka had been somewhat suppressed. So Gandhiji told him that you don't write so elaborately, so prolixly. You because novel is after all an art. It is ultimately novel is a book of literature. So you can, if you're giving a speech, or that's a different thing. You can speak anything, very spontaneous overflow. But if you're writing something, that must come under a structure, under a system. So Gandhiji said, you cut down these melodramatic pieces and reduce it to this much, so that the artists, the writers, the critics, or the readers will not feel that is too much biased. So Mahatma, he asked for the deflation of these clever tricks, which had made the expression of concrete detail into a deliberate effort at style. So out of 250 pages, 150 were left. Initially, the novel was 250 pages. It was reduced under Gandhi's supervision. Gandhi read it and said, you reduce it to these portions you cut off. So he cut off some portions and it became 150. So actually, good writing is that writing which is in a limited space. It speaks about unlimited things in a very concentrated way. Writing should be pithy, writing should be concentrated, and writing should not be there should not be any superfluity in terms of expression, because that way the novel will become very loose in construction. And I remember one thing, you must have heard of T.S. Eliot. He had a guide, the Imagist movement. He had a guy. He had a what do you say, mentor. And who was his T.S. Eliot's mentor? Can anybody tell? Do you have any idea? Who had reduced the Westland into a smaller one? Because T.S. Eliot had written a lot of lines in the Westland, to which a critic, Ezra Pound, his mentor, he suggested, Mr. Eliot, please cut off these lines, reduce it to this much, so that it will be a better book. So, as you know, poetry is a highly concentrated expression, more concentrated than novels and other things. So, Ezra Pound gave the direction to T.S. Eliot, and T.S. Eliot wrote it that way. And as you know, T.S. Eliot got Nobel Prize for that book, The Westland, which is a classic, which is a classic in modern Indian, modern world literature. T.S. Eliot's The Westland. It is. Have you read Westland? Anybody among you? तुम ऑनर्स रे की पढ़ी कि? Has anybody among you
Yes, sir.
uh, T.S. Eliot's Westland any portion? Have you read? Hmm? Anybody who has read? Please raise your hand. You have an option here. You can raise your hands or you speak out.
Yes, sir.
Mhm. Rajaswari.
Yes,
What is
sir.
your name? Rajasri Rana. You read it honors.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you remember any lines? Okay. So let us have a 5 minutes break, and then we'll continue. Don't go away. Let me go to the washroom. Don't go away. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Please
sir.
stay. Unmute yourself and stay. You can talk among yourselves, but not at one time. All of you talk. You can exchange ideas, but give me 5 minutes time. Okay. Let me go to the
Okay, sir.
washroom and come back. But be there. Don't go away.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hello. I want ସମସ୍ତେ ଟିକେ ମୋ କଥା ଶୁଣ ସମସ୍ତେ ଗୋଟେ ଗ୍ରୁପ ବନେଇବା କି ଇଂଲିଶ ର
ଗ୍ରୁପ ଅଛି ପରା।
ଅଛି କି ମୁଁ ଜାଣିନି କି ମତେ ଟିକେ ଆଡ କରିଦିଅନ୍ତନି।
Please, who can admin this group? Kindly add my number.
ଇଂଲିଶ ର ଯଦି ଗ୍ରୁପ ଅଛି ଟିକେ ଆଡ କର ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ହଉଛି ମାନେ ଇଂଲିଶ ରେ କିଛି ଗୋଟେ ଟପିକ ଡାଉଟ ଥିଲେ ପଚାରିବାକୁ କି କରିବାକୁ ଡାଉଟ ହଉଛି କିଛି ଯଦି ମାନେ ଗ୍ରୁପ ଅଛି ଟିକେ ଆଡ କରିଦିଅନ୍ତୁନି।
I also share my number in chat box. Please add this number.
ଦିସ୍ ଇଜ ଏଟା ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଇୟର କ୍ଲାସ ଚାଲିଛି ନା?
Yes, MEG-7.
ହଁ MEG-7 ତ
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
ଏଠି ମେସେଜ କରିଦେବି କି ମୋ ନମ୍ବର?
ଆପଣ କଣ ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ଇୟର ଅଛନ୍ତି କି?
ହଁ।
ଓହୋ, ଆମେ ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ଇୟର, ଆମର ଗୋଟେ ଗ୍ରୁପ ଅଛି।
ଓ ସରି ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ଇୟର କ୍ଲାସ ସେଟା।
ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ଇୟର ଅଛି ମୁଁ ଗ୍ରୁପର ଲିଙ୍କ ପଠେଇ ଦଉଛି ଆପଣ ଜଏନ୍ କରିବେ।
ଏଇଥର
ଯୋଉଟା ଫାଷ୍ଟ
ଏଇଥର
ଲିଙ୍କ ଟା
କଣ
ସେୟାର
ଏମିତି
କରାହେଇଛି
ଅଛି?
ସେଟା ନା? ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଏମିତି କଣ ଅଛି?
MEG-7
ତାପରେ ଆଉ କଣ ତିନିଟା?
MEG-5 MEG-7 MEG-10 MEG-14।
ଓହୋ। ତାହେଲେ ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ସାର୍ କରିକି ଜଣେ ଅଛନ୍ତି ତାଙ୍କୁ କହିଲେ ସେ ବୋଧେ ଗ୍ରୁପ ଆଡମିନ ଅଛନ୍ତି ସେ ଆଡ କରିଦେବେ ଗ୍ରୁପ ରେ ଠିକ ଅଛି।
ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ସାର୍ ଏବେ ଅଛନ୍ତି କି ଆକ୍ଟିଭ ଅଛନ୍ତି ଏଥିରେ?
ମୁଁ ଜାଣିନି ମୁଁ ତାଙ୍କ ନମ୍ବର ନହେଲେ ସେୟାର କରିଦଉଛି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ।
ହଁ ହଁ ଠିକ ଅଛି।
ମୁଁ ଲିଙ୍କ ସେୟାର କରିଦେଲି ସେଠି ଜଏନ ହେଇଯାଆନ୍ତୁ।
ଭାଇ ସେଥିରେ ଲିଙ୍କ ଫେଲ ଦେଖଉଛି।
ଏବେ ଲିଙ୍କ ସେୟାର କଲି ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ।
ଓକେ ଓକେ ଠିକ ଅଛି। ଭାଇ ଏଥିରେ 1 2 3 5 MEG 1 2 3 5 ଅଛି ବାକି
ସେଇଥିରେ ସମସ୍ତେ ଅଛନ୍ତି।
ଓ ସେଟା ଜଷ୍ଟ ସିମ୍ବଲିକାଲି ଲେଖା ହେଇଯାଇଛି।
ହେଇଛି ବାସ୍।
ନୟାଗଡ଼ ଅଟୋନମସ୍ କଲେଜରେ କାହାର ସେଣ୍ଟର ଅଛି କି?
ମୋର ଅଛି।
ଭାଇ ତମ ନମ୍ବର ଟିକେ ସେୟାର କରୁନ ମୁଁ ମାନେ କଣ୍ଟାକ୍ଟ କରିବାକୁ ସୁବିଧା ହୁଅନ୍ତା ମାନେ ମୁଁ ଏକା ହେଇଯାଉଛି ଏଠି।
ମୋ ଭାଇ ନୁହେଁ ମୋ ଭଉଣୀ।
MEG
ଓ ସରି
7
ମୁଁ
ରେ କିଛି ଗ୍ରୁପ ଅଛି କି ଏଇଥିରେ?
କଣ MEG-7 ପର୍ଟିକୁଲାର ଗ୍ରୁପ ଏମିତି ନାହିଁ ତ?
ମୋ
ନାଇଁ
ନମ୍ବର
ମାନେ ସେ
ଲେଖନ୍ତୁ।
ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ ଇଂଲିଶ ଲିଟରେଚର
ଗୋଟେ
ତିନିଟା
ମିନିଟ
MEG-7 10 ଆଉ 14।
ମୁଁ ବି ସେଟା ପଚାରୁଛି ମୋର ବି ସେଟା ଅଛି ବଟ୍ କାଇଁ କିଛି ତ କହୁନାହାନ୍ତି। ହଁ ନମ୍ବର କୁହ।
8249
8249
8274
8274
60।
60 ଓକେ ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ। ମୁଁ କଲ୍ କରିବି
ଏଇଟା
କ୍ଲାସ ସରିଲା ପରେ ମୁଁ ହଁ
ଏଠି
ଏଇଟା
ଗୋଟେ ମେସେଜ କରିଦେବେ
ହଁ ମୁଁ ଏଥିରେ
ନୟାଗଡ଼ରେ ଗୋଟେ MEG ଆଜ୍ଞା
ହଁ
ମୁଁ
ନୟାଗଡ଼
କ୍ଲିୟର କରିଦେବି। ନୟାଗଡ଼ ଗୋଟେ MEG ଗ୍ରୁପ ଅଛି ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଷ୍ଟଡି ସେଣ୍ଟର ଗ୍ରୁପ ମଧ୍ୟ ଅଛି ଯୋଉଥିରେ କହିବେ ସେଟା ଆଡ୍ କରିଦେବେ।
ଓକେ ମୁଁ କ୍ଲାସ ସରିଲେ କଲ୍ କରିବି କି ନହେଲେ ମେସେଜ କରିଦେବି।
ଓକେ।
ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ।
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ ପ୍ରିୟଦର୍ଶିନୀ
ହଁ 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 ହଁ
ଆପଣ ହଉଛି ଏଇ ଗ୍ରୁପ ରେ ଆଡମିନ ଅଛନ୍ତି କି ମାନେ MEG-7 10 ଆଉ 14 ର ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ ଇଂଲିଶ ଲିଟରେଚର?
ନା ମୁଁ ନିଜେ କହୁଛି ମତେ ଗ୍ରୁପ ରେ ଆଡ କର ବୋଲି।
ଓହୋ ବାକି ତୁମର ସେଇଟା ଅଛି ତ MEG ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ ଇଂଲିଶ
ହଁ
ଲିଟରେଚର
ହଁ
ଟା? ତ
ହଁ ହଁ
ଠିକ
ହଁ
ଅଛି, ତମ
ଲିଟରେଚର
ନମ୍ବର ଟା
ଯୋଉମାନେ
ଟିକେ ମତେ
ଅଛନ୍ତି
କହିବେ କି?
ଇଂଲିଶ
ହଁ ମୁଁ
ଲିଟରେଚର
କହିଦଉଛି 9 ହଁ କୁହ
ଗୋଟେ ମିନିଟ୍, ହଁ କୁହନ୍ତୁ।
90
90
786
783
786
783 ନା 6?
786
ଆଜ୍ଞା, ତାପରେ
6
କଣ
799।
ଶୁଭୁନି?
ମୁଁ ମେସେଜ କରିଦଉଛି, ଗୋଟେ ମିନିଟ, ଏଇଥିରେ ହିଁ ମେସେଜ କରୁଛି।
କଲେ ହଁ ହଁ କରନ୍ତୁ, କାହିଁକି ନା ଏଠି
ଓକେ ମୁଁ କରିଦେଲି।
କେହି ଏନସି ଅଟୋନମସ କଲେଜ ଯାଜପୁରରେ ଅଛ କି?
Guys, can you please speak in English?
ହଁ ହଁ ମୁଁ ଅଛି। I am from NC Autonomous College.
ଯାଜପୁରରୁ?
Yes.
ତମ ନମ୍ବରଟା ଟିକେ ଦବ?
Rajeshri.
ହଁ ହଁ।
79928.
Please share your number in the chat box. I'll message you.
ମାଇ ନମ୍ବର?
Yes.
ଓକେ ଓକେ। ମେସେଜ କରିଦଉଛି। ଆଚ୍ଛା ତମର ସବଜେକ୍ଟ କଣ କଣ ଅଛି? ହ୍ୟାଲୋ।
ହଁ ହଁ ଦେଖିଲି। ମୋର ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ଇୟର ହେଲାଣି। 7, 10 ଆଉ 14, 15 ଅଛି।
ହଁ ସେମ୍ ସବଜେକ୍ଟ ମୋର ବି ଅଛି। କିନ୍ତୁ ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ଇୟର, ମୋର ତ ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଇୟର।
ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ଇୟର ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ଇୟର କିଛି ଡିଫରେନ୍ସ ନାହିଁ। ଯିଏ ଯୋଉ ଲିଟରେଚର ନେବେ ସେଇ ବର୍ଷ ସେ ସେଇ ପରୀକ୍ଷା ଦେବେ। ଆପଣ ଏ ବର୍ଷ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ ଲିଟରେଚର ନେଇଛନ୍ତି ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ଇୟରରେ, ସେ ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ଇୟର ନେଇଛନ୍ତି ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ ଲିଟରେଚର। ଏଥିରେ କିଛି ଅସୁବିଧା ନାହିଁ। ପାଠ ତ
ହଁ
ଏକା ନା, ସେ ଯୋଉ ଇୟର ହଉଛି ସେଇ ଇୟରରେ ସେ ପରୀକ୍ଷା ଦେବ।
ଏକ୍ସାମ ସେମ୍ ଟାଇମରେ ହବ?
ହଁ, ଜୁନ୍ ସିଲେକ୍ଟ କରିବ ଜୁନରେ ଦେବେ, ଡିସେମ୍ବର ସିଲେକ୍ଟ କଲେ ଡିସେମ୍ବରରେ ଦେବେ। 4 ବର୍ଷ ଭିତରେ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କ୍ଲିୟର କରିବାର ଅଛି। 2 ବର୍ଷରେ କିନ୍ତୁ ମାନେ ମିନିମମ୍ 2 ବର୍ଷ, ମ୍ୟାକ୍ସିମମ୍ 4 ବର୍ଷ। ଆପଣ ଯେତେବେଳେ ସୁବିଧା ଦେବେ କରିବେ।
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ।
ତାହେଲେ ସାର୍ ଏବେ ଯୋଉ ଟପିକ ଟା ପଢଉଛନ୍ତି ଆମେ ଆମ ବହିରେ ପାଇବୁନି?
ହଁ,
ବୁଝିପାରିଲେନି?
ସାର୍ ଯୋଉ ଟପିକ ଟା ପଢଉଛନ୍ତି ସେଇଟା ଆମର ଇଗ୍ନୋ ବହିରେ ଅଛି।
ଇଗ୍ନୋ ବହିରେ ମୋ ପାଖରେ ବି ଅଛି, ବଟ୍ କଥା ହେଲା ମୁଁ ଟପିକ ଟା ପାଉନି।
ଟପିକ ଟା
ଗାଇସ୍
ବ୍ଲକ 2
ପେଜ୍
ରେ।
32 ପେଜ୍
ହଁ
32
ବ୍ଲକ
କରିବେ।
ଟୁ ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ 2 ରେ ମୁଁ ଦେଖୁଛି ବଟ୍ ପାଉନି। ସାର୍
ନାଇଁ ନାଇଁ,
କହିଲେ 30, ପେଜ ନମ୍ବର 30।
ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ
ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ 1।
ହଁ
ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ
ଏମିତି
1 ରେ,
1
ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ 1 ରେ ଥିବ ବ୍ଲକ 2 ରେ।
ହଁ
ଓ
7
ଓକେ। ଆଉ
ଏମିତି
ମାନେ ସାରଙ୍କ କଣ୍ଟାକ୍ଟ ନମ୍ବର କେହି ରଖିଛନ୍ତି କି ୟା ଭିତରେ?
ହଁ ଅଛି।
ଆଉ ଟିକେ ସେୟାର କରିବେ ଚାଟ ବକ୍ସ ରେ।
ପ୍ରିୟଙ୍କା ତମେ କ୍ଲାସ ସରିଲେ ମତେ ଟିକେ ମେସେଜ କରିବ, ମୁଁ ଟିକେ କଥା ହେବି।
ହଉ ହଉ।
ପ୍ରିୟଦର୍ଶିନୀ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ତ?
ହଁ ହଁ।
ହଉ ହଉ ଠିକ ଅଛି, ମୁଁ କରିବି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ।
ଓକେ।
ସାରଙ୍କ ନମ୍ବର ଟା ଟିକେ ଚାଟ ବକ୍ସ ରେ ସେୟାର କରନ୍ତୁ।
Guys, can you please speak in English? This is English class, not the ODIA class.
Actually, as our native language is Odia, so it's very easy to communicate to each other, right?
But I am not from Odisha. Few people are from Delhi also, so how they will understand this?
Yes, yes. We are just communicate to each other. Not there is no there is no interference for you, right?
Thing is not about the interference, but if we want to help you or if we want the help, so how can we
Excuse me,
talk?
madam. Excuse me, madam. You are from Delhi? Hello?
Yes, yes.
And you are joining in Odisha zone, study center
RC sent
Bhubaneswar.
RC sent me the link all over India. In fact, all over, matlab, out of India also, people are joining here because RC has
I
sent us the
think
class
I
link.
think this program is going on under the regional center Bhubaneswar.
Yeah,
It
but
is not
Delhi
all
RC,
over. No, one can join. I know one can
and
join and from anywhere, but
all these
it is specifically for the Bhubaneswar study center students.
all these
Anyway, you can
students
join, no issue. Thanks.
all these students of MA English has been sent this message, whether they are from India or out of the India. They have got the same link.
Actually, ma'am, we are not talking with
Okay, okay,
study
okay.
related things. So that I thought that ODIA communication is good for us, right? So no issues.
Hello,
Hello, hello.
MEG 4 ଅଛି କି କାହାର? Hello,
ହଁ
MEG 4 ଅଛି କି କୋର୍ସ? MEG 4
ନାଇଁ
ଆଚ୍ଛା ଠିକ ଅଛି।
Acha, I'm back. Shall we resume?
Yes,
Hello.
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Yes,
Excuse
sir.
me, sir. Excuse
Yes,
me, sir.
yes.
Sir, if there is any not any problem, if you will on your video, then it will be bit good and teaching will
My
be lively.
video.
Yes, sir.
My video means my. You want to see my photo?
When you are speaking, at least your face should be visible. Then it will be like if any no, if in, not there any problem. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, my face is so ugly that I didn't want to show it.
No, sir. No, sir. Your language is so good and everything is good. Everything is created by uh, someone else which is not in our control. Not good, not
I
bad,
was
sir.
not.
It is
I
very
was
nice,
not
sir.
showing my. I was not showing my face because I am
Sir,
not so
we are
good.
able to hear your voice, not your peak.
Yes, sir,
Then I
continue.
was here. The dear friend said that you show your face, but actually I was hiding my face because my face is not so good looking. That is why.
Exactly, sir. When
Uh,
through communication is there, if listener is looking you, then expression as well as feeling would be a little better. So far, I
okay,
think.
okay. No, no.
Thank you, sir.
I don't have any problem showing my face. I don't have any problem. I was hiding it because people may not be interested in looking at my face. But had it been a physical class, I would see you, you would see me. That would be more lively. Okay, but actually this is a just online class, so you can see my face. Teacher is teacher, no problem. I was just not showing it because I thought you were not interested in seeing my face. You are just interested in listening to me. If you are interested, it's fine, no problem. So I was telling you how RK, this Mulk Raj Anand came under the direct influence of Gandhiji while composing this novel. And as you know, from 250 pages, it got reduced to 150 only under the influence of Mahatma Gandhi. And I was telling you that in that context, I was telling you how T.S. Eliot also came under the tremendous influence of Ezra Pound, his mentor. And Ezra Pound told him, look, this you do this. And look, behind every successful writer, there is may not be a woman. There is another person, a critic. There is a critic. So you look at Rabindranath Tagore. He had this mentor, William Butler Yeats from England, from Ireland, English poet, Irish poet. So Yeats wrote the foreword to this, preface to this Gitanjali, and he brought this person to limelight. Though Gitanjali was translated by Tagore by himself from Bengali to English, and that is song offerings to the Lord. Gitanjali, you should read, I think. I don't know how many of you have read, but you must read. Gitanjali is a classic, a small but beautiful book where Tagore feels the presence of God in each. You can feel the presence of God in each line there. Okay, beautiful poem. And for that he got Nobel Prize. So this is how we were talking about the plot and structure of this novel. The novel, as you know, is a prose fiction in prose which tells you a story. What is the definition of a novel? Novel is a fiction in prose with a story, with a plot. And I told you what is the difference between the plot and the story. The why of the story is the plot. The king died, but the king died of grief. Of grief is the cause. When you add the cause, it becomes the plot. The why of the story becomes the plot. So every novel and every drama has a plot, and this novel actually doesn't have a very strong story, doesn't have a strong plot. It is actually telling the story of Bakha, who is a representative community, a person who represents his community, the sweepers community, the community which actually carries this human seat on the head and cleans the drains and the vices of the people. At that time, they were terribly treated by the society, which actually Mulkraj Anand wanted to bring to limelight because at that time only not only political freedom was very important, economic freedom were important. Money should come to all. Now these governments are sending chief ministers and prime ministers are directly sending money to the beneficiaries' account. That is what actually was needed at that time too. But it took so many years, like 70, 80 years after independence, these things are happening. The farmer is getting money from directly from the government to his account. This is how there is an attempt at achieving some kind of economic independence of the poor people. They are giving bhattas. As today, one old man was telling me that sir, more bhatta badhigala 500 ru 1000 hegala from 500. Now he will get 1000. So he is quite happy. And in these election times, all the governments, whether BJP or any other party, I'm not in favor of any party. For you, I don't side with any party. So all the parties, whoever is in power, try to pacify the people, present them something so that in future they're going to draw votes. So now there are so many plans and there are so many programs which were not there during the British time because the Britishers only wanted to loot India, take away everything, including that um, what Mayur throne, the peacock throne. They took away everything from India, all the gold and ornaments, um, all the riches of India were being looted and siphoned to their country. So, out of 250 pages, only 150 became the bulk of the novel. And coming to the story, Baka is the son of Lakha, the Jemadar of all the sweepers in the town, the cantonment. His father's duty was to keep the 3 rows of public latrines clean. These latrines are used by men from both the town and the cantonment. Cantonment area means where the people were army people were staying. Baka had for some time worked in the barracks of the British government, British regiment, and he had looked at the Tommies with wonder and amazement when the first went to live at the British uh, regimental barracks with his uncle. He had had glimpses during his sojourn there of the life of the Tommies lived, sleeping on low canvas beds covered tightly with blankets, eating eggs, drinking tea and wine in tin mugs, and going to parade and then walking down to the bazaar with cigarettes in their mouths and small silver mounted canes in their hands. And he had soon become obsessed with an overwhelming desire to live their life. So many Indians were during this British Raj, they wanted to turn themselves into sahibs. They also wanted to behave like sahibs. And among the writers, Niraj C. Chaudhary, who also went to England and stayed last part of his life there. Most part of his life was spent in London, and there also he tried to live like a gentleman. He has written the book. Niraj C. Chaudhary has written the book The Unknown Citizen. So there he was living in London. Who will come to know you? Our Prafulla Mahanti from our place, Nagpur, is staying in London. But Prafulla Mahanti is quite a famous person. He is a talented painter and writer. My Village, My Life, he has written. Recently, he came to the village. Actually, he happens to be near my village, Prafulla Mahanti. Some of you might have read his novel, Through the Brown Eye, My Life, My Village. He's a painter and great writer. He's staying in London now. Similarly, Nirosi Chaudhary, who was living in London, the difference is Nirosi Chaudhary was trying to behave like a sahib. He was putting on a cap and all the suit and all tie and all time, like our lawyer friends in the courts, district courts and high courts. They're using all black ties and black coats during the hottest of summer. You find them walking down the street of High Court. And it is a terrible heat, and they will be using this coats because this is British slavery to British culture. We have not yet been able to do away with the slavish British culture. Though the uniform of the judges has been changed, they have now the lady judges have option of three. They can wear white, gray, and black. But I don't think the male judges have any change in their dress, their But this is how some people try to. And my purpose of telling all these things is that so Baka, when he went to with his father to this place and he started his life, he also dreamt of being a Sahib, behaving like a cantonment Tommy soldier, and wear all these things, hold a baton or a cane, and wear these dresses. So it was part of his dream. So all he is still lying, when he was still lying in bed, Baka hears his father's stern and authoritative call. Get up! Oh, you Baka, the son of a pig. His father was calling him son of a pig. He is angered at the abuse as he is already feeling depressed that morning. His father's abuses create a growing dislike of his heart in his heart for the short-tempered, sickly old man, but he has fond memories of his mother and thinks of the days when she was alive. So Baka loved his mother much more because father was sometimes behaving very badly with him. She showed him all the affection that warmed his heart. Mothers are mothers. The love of a mother is incomparable. So he remembered his mother most of the times. She used to give him a brass tankard full of a boiling hot mixture of water, tea leaves, and milk from the steaming earthen saucepan. It was so delightful. The taste of that hot, saucy liquid, that Baka's mouth watered for it on the night before the morning on which he had to drink it. So all the while, Baka was thinking of remembering the tea from his mother, but his mother is no more there. Uh, so this is how some uh, of the nice things that he remembers. But his real life is hell because Baka comes out of his reverie in the morning where somebody calls, "Oh, Baka, Baka, scoundrel of his sweeper's son, come, clean the latrine for me." This is the kind of treatment he was getting. He is Habildar Charat Singh, the famous hockey player of 30th Dogra Regiment. So some Indians were there in the British regiment, as you know, some Indian soldiers and Indian people were serving in the British army. That is how India also participated in Second World War. Indian soldiers went to participate in the British army. So why aren't the latrines clean? Oh, rogue of a baka, there is one, no, not 1 feet to go near, and I have walked all around. Do you know you are responsible for my piles? That fellow, Charat Singh had piles problem. I caught the contagious sitting on one of these dirty latrines. Baka picks up his brush and basket and sets out to clean the latrines. So cleaning the latrines and carrying the sit on his head and doing this that dirty job, Baka is feeling uh, totally miserable in his life. But Baka is a very promising and efficient person. He does his job very brightly, and uh, Baka feels grateful at this gesture on the part of one of the best hockey players. So after he has done the duty, Charan Singh says, "You are a good boy," like this, and if he tries to pacify him, okay, this is how his life has been. A great ordeal. Ordeal, you understand? ORDEAL. Anybody? Ordeal means a great hazardous journey. ORDEAL. He goes to the town to sweep the streets as a substitute for his father. And he has said that he was not feeling well. Baka is not only scolded but slapped by the Hindu merchant who alleges that Baka has touched him and thus polluted him. So Britishers were torturing Indians for job work, but some Indian bosses, boss you understand, BOSS, master, some Indian masters were torturing this Baka. on the ground that he was untouchable. The dirty dog bumped right into me. He touched me. So unmindfully do these sons of bitches walk in the streets. Look how they are treated. Even they didn't have the right to walk on the street and touch by any chance touch the not consciously. He didn't touch consciously. Unconsciously also you cannot touch the higher caste people. So Baka is standing motionless with a hopeless expression of meekness in his face. So this misery, the misery that these Baka-like people suffered in the society, that has been highlighted in the novel. Baka is an untouchable, and he begins to announce, "I am a uh, poor guy. I am a sweeper." And he asks himself why he was treated in such an abusive and insulting manner by the Hindus. He also wonders why the Sahibs and Muslims don't mind touching them. The cruel. So look how Mulkraj Anand has so deeply studied the social fabric of the Hindu society. Inside the Hindu society, if the lower caste people are misbehaved, so that is how conversion also took place. Many people be turned into Christians. Why? The Christian missionary became successful in turning the religion or incorporating people into their religion. Why? Because this weak fiber in the society, the Hindus were divided among themselves. The higher caste people were hating not only hating, they're hating and cruelly treating the lower caste people. That is why some of them turned into Muslims, some of them turned into Christians. So the Hindu society was a highly orthodox, and it was a pungent kind of society where the lower caste people were feeling breathless. They had no freedom. And the Muslim Sahibs, they didn't have any problem in touching them, but these Hindus had problem of touching them. So this inner weakness of the fabric of the society brought about tremendous disintegration of the Hindu society. That is how the sociological study of the Hindu society has been done in this novel. A highly sociological novel. All the problems of the society have been tactfully treated in this novel. Okay, he was thinking why the Sahibs have no problem in touching us. Muslims even don't have problem in touching us, but these Hindus are hating to touch us. So after roaming around aimlessly though fascinated by the stalls where the brass band musical instruments were displayed, Baka goes to the temple, where is to sweep the courtyard. The sight of the stone deities from a distance seemed to calm his troubled mind, driven by his curiosity to know more about the cave snake god. Snake god means Lord Shiva. ଶିବଙ୍କ ବେକରେ ଗୋଟେ ସାପ ଥାଏ, there is a snake around Shiva's neck. So he's got, it is described as snake god by the Britishers. He climbs a few steps leading to the holy place, and deeply moved by the rhythmic singing there, he instinctively folds his hands as if to worship inwardly the unknown god. He hears just then loud cry, "Polluted, polluted, polluted!" This runs a wave of shock among the devotees. Baka thinks he is under having some so near the deities. So even if they are going near the deities, gods, people were terrified. So such was the pungent nature of casteism, the bitter casteism who is prevailing in the Hindu society, which the author has abhorred, hated. The author says this was the problem, this was the danger in the Hindu society for which the Britishers had an upper hand, and other people belonging to other religions also had an upper hand. Conversion took place because not only of other missionaries and other things that took place because of the problem in the Hindu society also. The Hindus didn't understand Hinduism properly. Hindus, they had terrible caste feeling. Now this caste feeling has come down. Now we are not behaving like that because we are now to some extent, to a large extent, we have improved our sociability, sociableness, and we are mixing with people. We are not. Even some people are not still in that old orthodox ideas, and thus moves the novel. Okay. Mm. Very interesting novel. You can read it at your leisure time. You read the novel. So let me sum up. There are a lot of things. You can have a question on the. I don't know the pattern of the question. I will. So soon after I come to know about it, I will tell you. Or you can contact your seniors and ask them what kind of questions are coming. But one of the important questions is why justify the title of this novel, The Untouchable? Why is it the novel is told as is named as The Untouchable?
Hello.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir. Sir,
Ah,
after finishing all blocks, kindly probably question please do.
I'll give at the end. At the end, let me make a inquiry about all the questions. If I get anything from JKVK College, because that is the affiliated college, that college is known to me. I was there, so I will try to discover some questions if they are there, old questions of MEG-7. Then I can only tell the pattern of question. On the net, is it not available?
What, sir?
Hey, can you do you not get any question pattern or anything from
Yes
your?
सर सर साइड इग्नोर साइड में सर थोड़ा क्वेश्चन है लेकिन वो जो प्रीवियस ईयर का क्वेश्चन पैटर्न है उसी तरफ का थोड़ा सा आइडिया है लेकिन इससे
Oh,
जो
that is. I think that is enough. That is enough. That is enough. The old questions will help you in preparing for the. The questions are also given here. Murpraj Anand's novels portray Indian social problems realistically. Discuss with reference to the difference with reference to the novel. Write a critical note on the plot construction in Untouchable. Discuss the narrative technique. Baka is not just a suffering abstraction, but a man of flesh and blood, convincingly portrayed by the author. Discuss. These are the four questions given at the end of this block. So you can
okay
also pretty well prepare these questions.
sir can you practice this ignore side previous year question sir is question is repeated this
Or
is
not?
yes sir
Actually, I don't know. I'll see and tell you.
okay sir
So we'll meet tomorrow at the same time, 4 o'clock, and we'll discuss Raja Rao's Kanthapura. Any questions, please ask me.
Sir,
ସାର୍
hello.
ନମସ୍କାର।
Namaskar.
ସାର୍ ଆମର ଏମିଜି 4 କ୍ଲାସ୍ ସାର୍ କଣ ହବନି?
ଆରେ ବାବା ମୁଁ ସେସବୁ ତ ଜାଣିନି ମତେ ଯୋଉଟା ମତେ MEG-7 ଆଲର୍ଟ ହେଇଛି ସେଇଟା ତମେ ତମର ରିଜନାଲ ସେଣ୍ଟର ବା ଯୋଉଠି ଆଡମିସନ କରିଛ ତମେ ସେଠି ତାଙ୍କୁ କ୍ୱେରି କର ତାଙ୍କୁ ପଚାର ତମର କୋଉ ଇଗ୍ନୋ ଅଣ୍ଡରରେ ଅଛ?
ସାର୍ ଆରସି ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ସାର୍।
ହଁ ତାଙ୍କର କାହାର ନମ୍ବର ଥିବ ତମ ପାଖରେ?
ହଁ ସାର୍ ତାଙ୍କୁ ମେଲ କରିଥିଲି ଯେ ରିପ୍ଲାଏ କିଛି ଆସୁନି କିନ୍ତୁ MEG-4 ଟା ଆମ ସିଡ୍ୟୁଲରେ ନାହିଁ ତ କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମର ଅଛି କୋର୍ସରେ। କିନ୍ତୁ
ତମେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଆହୁରି ରିପ୍ଲାଏ ଆହୁରି କୋଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ପଚାର ଆହୁରି ତାଙ୍କୁ ମେଲ କର।
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ମେଲ କର
ସାର୍
ସେ
ସାର୍
ରିପ୍ଲାଏ ଦଉନାହାନ୍ତି ମୁଁ ତ ମେଲ କରିଥିଲି ଗୋଟେ ମୁଁ ଇନିସିଆଲି ଜାଣିପାରିଲିନି କେମିତି କଣ ହୁଏ କ୍ଲାସ ଟା ଏଇ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଯୋଉ ତମର ଯୋଉ ୱେବସାଇଟ ଟା ଦେଇଛି ସେ ମେଲ ରେ ସେଇ ୱେବସାଇଟ ରେ ସବୁବେଳେ ହବ ମାନେ ସେଇ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଗୁଗୁଲ ମିଟ ରେ ହବ।
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
ମୁଁ
ସାର୍
ସେଇଟା
ସାର୍
ଯାହା
ଆସ୍ପେକ୍ଟସ ଅଫ ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଏଜ ତ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ କ୍ଲାସ ଗୁଡ଼ା ଅଛି ବି ସେଥିପାଇଁ।
ସେଇ ତ ଆସ୍ପେକ୍ଟସ ଅଫ ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଏଜ ବହୁତ ଡିଫିକଲ୍ଟ ଜିନିଷ।
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍ ସେଇଟା ନାହିଁ
ସେଇଟା
ପ୍ରାୟ ସିଡ୍ୟୁଲରେ ନାହିଁ କାଉନସିଲିଂ
ସେଇଟା
କ୍ଲାସ
କାହାକୁ
ଆମର।
କାହାକୁ ଆଲର୍ଟ କରାଯାଇଛି ତମେ ଜାଣିଛ ତ? ସେଠି ତମର ଥିବ, ତମକୁ ଦେଇଥିବେ। କାହାକୁ
ସାର୍
କାହାକୁ
ସେଥିରେ
ଦିଆଯାଇଛି?
ସାର୍ ସେଇଟା ନାହିଁ ସିଡ୍ୟୁଲରେ ନାହିଁ MEG-4 ନାହିଁ ଜମା।
ଆରେ ସେଇଟା କେମିତି ରଖିନାହାନ୍ତି?
ସେ ସାର୍ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ
ତମେ
ହଉଛି।
ତାଙ୍କୁ ଯାଇ କୁହ, ତାଙ୍କୁ ନହେଲେ ମେଲ କର, ନହେଲେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଘେରାଉ କର, ଯାହା କରୁଛ କର। ଏ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ସବୁ ଏମିତି କଣ ଚାଲିବା କଥା ଫଲ୍ଟିଲି? ତମେ 4ଟାର ରଖିଛ, ପିଲା ପଢୁଛନ୍ତି ମାନେ ୟୁ ମଷ୍ଟ ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ ଦେମ୍ ଟିଚର୍ସ, ୟୁ ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ ଦେମ୍ କ୍ଲାसेସ୍। ଆଉ ସବୁ ତ ବହିରେ ମିଳିଯାଉଛି, ଆଉ ଟିଚର ତାହେଲେ ଆଉ ଦରକାର ହଉଛି କାହିଁକି? ଟିଚର ଦରକାର ନା, ଡାଉଟ ପଚାରିବେ, କଣ କରିବେ, ବୁଝେଇବେ ଟିକେ। ତାପରେ ଆସ୍ପେକ୍ଟସ ଅଫ ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଏଜ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଟା ଟିକେ କିଟିମିଟିଆ ଜିନିଷ ନା। ତମେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଫୋନ
ସାର୍
କର, କହ।
ସାର୍ ଯଦି ଆମେ ସାର୍ ଇଗ୍ନୋ MEG-7 ର ବୁକ୍ସ ଟାକୁ ଖାଲି ଫଲୋ କରୁଛେ, ତାହେଲେ ସାର୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ସ ଇଟ୍ସ ସଫିସିଏଣ୍ଟ ୟା
More, more than sufficient.
ଓକେ ସାର୍।
ମୁଁ ତ ଦେଖୁଛି ଯାହା ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି। ଆମେ ତ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଜେନେରାଲ କ୍ଲାସ ପଢୁ ଅଲଗା ଜାଗାରେ, ଆମ ପିଜି କ୍ଲାସ ରେ ଏଇ ବହି ପଢିଲେ ବି ବହୁତ ବଢିଆ ଉପକାର ହୁଏ। ମାନେ ବ୍ରିଫଲି ସବୁ ଜିନିଷ ଦେଇଛି। ଆଉ ଭଲ ଭାବରେ ଦେଇଛି। ତମେ ଯଦି ଅଧିକା ପଢିପାରିବ ଭଲ, ୱେଲ୍ ଆଣ୍ଡ ଗୁଡ୍। ଆଉ କିନ୍ତୁ ଏଥିରେ ଯେତିକି ମେଟେରିଆଲ ଅଛି ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଇଜ ସଫିସିଏଣ୍ଟ।
ସାର୍ ଆମେ ଅଧିକା ପଢି ପାରିବୁନି, ଆଉ ସମୟ ନାହିଁ ନା। ତ
ଦରକାର
ସେଥିପାଇଁ
ନାହିଁ, ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ। ତମେ ଏହାକୁ ପଢିକି ଠିକ ଭାବରେ ଲେଖିବା ଦରକାର।
ଆଜ୍ଞା
What is important is not reading, presenting in correct English in your papers. That is important. ବୁଝିଲ କି?
ଓକେ ସାର୍, ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ସାର୍।
ଆଚ୍ଛା, so we'll meet tomorrow at 6, tomorrow at 4 o'clock. ଶୁଣ, ତମର ଗ୍ରୁପ ବନେଇଲ ନା ଅଛି ଏଇ ଗ୍ରୁପ ଟା?
No sir, I don't know who is group admin.
ସାର୍ ସେ ଗ୍ରୁପଟା ଅଛି ତ,
ଶୁଣ, କାଲି
ସେ ଗ୍ରୁପଟା
କାଲି
ଅଛି,
4ଟା ବେଳେ
ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଆଡ୍ କରାଯାଇଛି।
କାଲି 4ଟା ବେଳେ ତମେ ଜଣେ ସେ ଏଇଟାକୁ ଖୋଲିଦବ, କଣ ସେ ଯୋଉ ଗୁଗୁଲ ମିଟ ଟାକୁ ଖୋଲିଦବ, ମୁଁ ଜଏନ କରିବି ହେଲା।
ଆଜ୍ଞା
କିଏ କରିବ ସେଇଟା କୁହ ମତେ?
ସାର୍, ସାର୍ ମୁଁ ଲିଙ୍କ ପଠେଇଦେବି।
ତମ ନାଁ କଣ?
ମୈତ୍ରୀ ଆଚାର୍ଯ୍ୟ।
ଆଁ?
ମୈତ୍ରୀ ଆଚାର୍ଯ୍ୟ।
ମୈତ୍ରୀ ଆଚାର୍ଯ୍ୟ। ମୈତ୍ରୀ ଆଚାର୍ଯ୍ୟ, ତମକୁ ମୁଁ କାଲି 4ଟା ବେଳେ ଖୋଜିବି। କୁଆଡେ ଗଲା ସେ ଆଁ?
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍।
ଆମେ କେମିତି ଲିଙ୍କ ପାଇବୁ ସାର୍?
ସେଇ ତ ମାନେ ସେଇ
The
ଆମେ ଯୋଉ ଶୁଣ,
link is permanent. That
ଲିଙ୍କ ଇଜ
particular link is
ପରମାନେଣ୍ଟ। ଲିଙ୍କ ଆଉ ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହଉନି। ସେଇ ଲିଙ୍କରେ ତମେ ସମସ୍ତେ ଜଏନ କରିବ।
ସାର୍ ଯୋଉଟା
ମୁଁ
ଆମକୁ
4ଟା
ଜିମେଲ ରେ ଆସିଛି ସେଇଟାରେ ହିଁ ଆମେ ଜଏନ କରିବୁ ତ?
yes, yes.
ହଁ, ମୁଁ ସେଇଟା ତମ ଭିତରୁ କିଏ ଖୋଲିଦେଲେ ବି ହବ। ମୁଁ ରିକ୍ୱେଷ୍ଟ କରିବି ଜଏନ କରିବାକୁ। ମୁଁ
ଓକେ
ଖୋଲିଦେଲେ
ସାର୍।
ତମେ ରିକ୍ୱେଷ୍ଟ କରିବ ଜଏନ କରିବାକୁ। ତମେ ଜଏନ କରିକି ମତେ ଜଏନ କରିବାଟା ବେଟର।
ସାର୍
ଓକେ
ସାର୍
ସାର୍ ସାର୍।
ସେଇଟା ସାର୍ ଲିଙ୍କ ପଠେଇଦେବି, ଆପଣ ଜଏନ କରିବେ। କିନ୍ତୁ ସେଇଟା ସାର୍ RC ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱରର ସେ ଯୋଉ କ୍ଲାସ 2 ଅଛି, ସିଏ ସେ ଲିଙ୍କଟା କ୍ରିଏଟ୍ କରିଛନ୍ତି। ତେଣୁ ଅନ୍ୟ କେହି ସେଇଟା ସାର୍ ଅପରେଟ୍ କରିପାରିବେ ନା, ସିଏ ହିଁ ଅପରେଟ୍ କରିବେ। ଆପଣ ସେ ଲିଙ୍କରେ କ୍ଲିକ୍ କରିଦେଲେ, ଆଉ ଆସ୍ ଟୁ ଜଏନ କରିଦେଲେ, ସିଏ ଆଉ ତାକୁ ଜଏନ କରେଇଦେବେ।
ଆଚ୍ଛା, ଠିକ ଅଛି। ସେ କଣ ସେ ଗ୍ରୁପ ରେ ଛାଡିବେ
ସାର୍ ସେ
ନା
ମେଲ
କୋଉଠି?
ଦେଇ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ, ସାର୍ ସେ
ହଁ
ଲିଙ୍କଟା ମୁଁ ସେୟାର କରିଥିଲି।
ହଁ ହଁ, ସେଇଟା ସେୟାର କରିଥିଲ।
ସାର୍
ତମ ନା
ସେଇ
କି
ଲିଙ୍କଟାରେ
ଆଚାର୍ଯ୍ୟ?
ମୈତ୍ରୀ ଆଚାର୍ଯ୍ୟ।
ମୁଁ ସେଇ ଲିଙ୍କରେ କାଲି 4ଟା ବେଳେ ସେଠି କ୍ଲିକ୍ କରିଦେବି।
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍,
ହଉ
କରିଦେଇକି ସେଥିରେ
ହଉ
ଆସ୍ ଟୁ
ନହେଲେ
ଜଏନ କରିଦେଲେ।
ହଉ ଠିକ ଅଛି। ନହେଲେ ମୈତ୍ରୀ ଆଚାର୍ଯ୍ୟ ମତେ ପାଟି କରିବି ଆଉ କଣ।
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍, କିଛି
ମଜାରେ
ଅସୁବିଧା
କହିଲି।
ନାହିଁ ସାର୍, କିଛି
ହଉ
ଅସୁବିଧା ନାହିଁ
ଠିକ
ସାର୍।
ହଉ ଠିକ ଅଛି।
ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ
ନାଇଁ
ସାର୍।
ସାର୍,
ଆଉ ତ
ସେମାନଙ୍କ ମେଲ କୋଡ ମାନେ ସମାନ ଥାଏ ପ୍ରାୟତଃ। ତ ଆପଣ ସେଇଠି କ୍ଲିକ୍ କରିଦେଲେ ଅଟୋମେଟିକ ଜଏନ ହେଇଯିବେ।
ଭେରି ଗୁଡ, ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ। ଆଉ କଣ? ଆଉ ଆପଣ ମାନେ ଖୁସି ତ?
ୟେସ୍ ସାର୍।
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍।
And those who are in from outside Odisha, Delhi and Dubai and others, are you people happy? Are you
Yes, sir.
happy?
Yes, sir.
You are from Delhi,
No, no, I am from Gujarat, Vadodara.
Baroda.
Yes, yes, sir.
Baroda University. Our professor PC Kaur was there in Baroda University.
Yes,
Bar-
yes, sir.
Do you know him? PC Kaur. He is a renowned critic and professor. Basic. Okay, thank you for being in the class. Good night. Have a nice day.
Sir.
Tomorrow we are meeting at
Thank you,
4.
sir.
Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
नमस्ते सर.
Namaste.